Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And we have trailers galore for you today. So many. We have like 4, I think. But we're going to start with the latest one for the Batman.
Yep.
With our boy. Let's do it.
Oh, that's
Tommy Lee Jones?
No, he's in makeup. It's man, what's his name? Yeah, he's playing the Penguin. It's
Okay, so
Colin Farrell.
whoa.
Crazy, right?
Dude, Colin Farrell.
The
Wow.
amount of makeup he has.
That was an incredible amount of makeup to make Colin Farrell look like Tommy Lee Jones for a second. That's incredible. No, it's stacked. It's a stacked cast. I mean,
Dude, it is.
Robert Pattinson's not looking horrible. I mean, that was a really solid trailer, and it was much better than the first one. And it showed more of what was going on, like who's actually in this, what's going on. It looks like there's obviously more than one villain.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? You feel like they're gonna get enough time to shine, or they're all
I
gonna
think
be in
I think
cahoots?
so. I think what they're also doing is kind of setting up some shows on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, okay,
I
that makes
think
more sense.
the Penguin is supposed to appear in one of them.
Mhm.
But yeah, it looks really cool, and I like how it seems to take a little bit of inspiration from the Arkham games,
Mhm.
and I like that feel.
It feels like a proper reboot. Like
Yeah.
like they're like, no, this is the new norm. Like, deal with it. This is what we're setting up. This is what
Yeah.
we're doing going forward. And it makes sense because everyone's young enough. It seems that they could do this for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And if they play their cards right, I feel like we could have at least, a trilogy or two, or, a trilogy plus a bunch of cameos of like Robert Pattinson's Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're definitely setting up this universe. Now, do you think, how much crossover is there going to be? Because we already know about, I don't know if we should save it, but a lot of people know that Michael Keaton's coming back as old Batman for the Flash movie, right?
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Now, different universe, or like, should we save that for that trailer? I mean, how much crossover do you think there's going to be?
I don't think there's gonna be a lot.
Right.
It seems like this one is gonna be far different from like the Snyderverse,
Mhm.
from anything that we've seen.
Right.
I'd be curious to see if maybe like the Flash towards the end
Mhm.
would maybe connect to this Batman at that point.
Yeah.
But as that movie stands and as this one stands currently, I don't really see very much.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to keep their little universes separate if they would, or at least they're like, they're trying to keep these stories separate. And they're trying to tell a bunch of different stories at once, which we'll see. We'll see if that hurts or helps them. But I'm excited for this. Like, yeah, at first I was kind of like, whatever, new Batman, whatever. But now it's like, okay, let's see where this goes. And it sounds like it looks really great, and I think they're gonna have a lot to show. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how they delve into the detective side of the Batman, because that's supposed to be
Something new.
Yeah, something new that they're bringing.
Good.
And I feel like that may be one of the things that is kind of missing from the others.
Yeah, I would say he's supposed to be world's greatest detective. Right?
Yeah, and then he kind of.
Yeah. Let's see him do some mental math for once. Let's put him in front of a little textbook, see what he's got going on.
Yeah, and the Riddler is a great villain for that.
Good. Let's make him think.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's take your SATs, Batman. No, good. That's exciting. All right, on to the next one.
Yeah.
What do we got? We got
Flash?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's put on some Flash. I mean, wow. There's a lot more that sparks joy in that one for me. Not the Batman didn't, but I was like, what? We got a new suit. I love new suits. I know it's a new opportunity to sell toys, but I got huge Injustice 2 vibes from that when everyone had those awesome lines going through them, and like that was really, really cool. Yeah. I mean, is it Speed Force? Do you think that's Speed Force? Is that how they're justifying that? Is that Speed Force coursing through him?
I think so.
Or does he just have like
he kind of had that in the first one, didn't he? I mean, it was blue lightning, but it was
that's true. It was blue lightning.
I mean, it was kind of all.
It was industrial. It was like they said it was like recycled parts from like a NASA shuttle or something, and like all this weird future space tech. The suit. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So like, what do you think the lights are in this new suit?
Oh.
Yeah, like, I was thinking maybe that could be Speed Force, but then you said you're right. It was like blue lightning. Maybe it's evolving. Making a choice. I thought it was interesting they kept the same iris, which is good. I'm like, okay, well, how tied to this Snyderverse is this going to be? Because I mean, obviously it's that Flash, but they're taking a departure. I assume that was Michael Keaton or someone giving him a little statement saying you can go to any timeline you want. Why you're choosing to stay here or something along those lines. So I think it does sound like they're going to rely heavily on Flashpoint, which I saw done well enough especially in the animated movie, where they stayed pretty faithful to the comics, but also on the Flash TV show. They had their own version of Flashpoint, and it was still pretty good. I mean, I didn't go through all these characters. It was pretty self-contained, but as far as the character beats between him and his mom went, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
are you excited to see that again in live action? I'm just happy we're getting a Flash movie. Really.
I mean, I'm still kind of
apprehensive.
Apprehensive. Just because I didn't really like his Flash.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And while this could be like somewhat of a reboot in that way, because it is Flashpoint, so they are changing the timeline.
Exactly.
I just don't know if he works.
Well, we'll see how much longer he does work as Flash, barring all that drama from way back when. Yeah. But that also leads into another thing. It's like, okay, well, if we're getting crazy with it, it wouldn't be that difficult to assume, like, in a matter of a couple of years that, like, maybe someone like Wally West could take over. If they're going to barrel into all this multiverse stuff, all this time travel stuff, I mean, if they wanted an excuse to run off, they could do it pretty easily, I feel like. That being said, I hope something good comes of this, because I don't feel like he's had enough time to really develop his character in the movie as far as the movies are concerned.
Yeah, that's true.
So it'd be interesting to see if, like you said, with Flashpoint, that he gets maybe his time in the sun, and maybe it's good. Hopefully it's good, Hopefully we like what we see. Maybe they tighten up his humor, or give more motivation to his background and what is what he's all about. So we'll see. Pretty cool. What do you want to see from Michael Keaton's Batman? You want to see him kick some more ass, or do you want to see him like hang back in like an advisory role? Because it sounds like they're going on a heist at the end there or something.
I don't know, because we did see him presumably in the suit.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed like he was actually in it, walking or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe he could have some action scenes. That'd be pretty neat.
Let's see if he still got it.
He is pretty old, so
yeah, it'll be limited capacity probably.
Yeah, it'd be pretty limited, I would think.
Maybe he's got some good tech to help him out. We'll see. Like a bat cane or something. He's not that old, but he's getting up there. Cool. Well, let's move on to the next one. Hey, did you want to look at the Super Pets trailer? I haven't seen it.
Oh,
not worth it.
We can.
Are you interested?
I don't know. I didn't even think that was a thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Let's see it. Let's throw it in the mix. I'm curious. Yeah, you have to go to the end scene. It was somewhere.
We'll see if it pops.
We'll see if it pops up again. It was at the end of that last trailer, but let's go to Black Adam. Let's check it out. See his rap yet?
Yeah, I did.
How'd you feel about it?
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It was
corny.
It didn't feel right.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know he's Black Adam, Big Apple. Come on now. But like, I didn't expect him. There's naked like Terminator. Oh. Okay. That's not bad. I mean, it's a dramatic reveal. It's literally probably the opening scene or something like that. He's hyped to play this role. I'm happy for him. Yeah. But it seems like, judging off of that it's gonna be like pretty gruesome or pretty dark. How do you feel like the tones are gonna clash, or is it gonna work between him and all the Shazam kids, or like is one gonna have to come down to one's comedic level, or is the other one gonna have to rise up to one's like level of drama? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would wonder. I mean, are they even gonna be in it?
No, not in this one. No,
just like
no. I'm saying when they cross over eventually. No, because it's my understanding that, and we'll see in the next trailer that Shazam 2 is supposed to just be more world building with the kids and them growing and then having different villains or whatever, and just kind of growing as heroes. And this is supposed to be a proper origin, like standalone for Black Adam. Now there might be some crossovers, some mid-credit, post-credit scenes at the end that might tie into that more. But it's supposed to be, these two movies are supposed to be very separate. So I'm saying when eventually they do cross over, because they have to at some point, I feel like.
Yeah.
How is that going to go down? Do you want to see a compromise, or do you want to see like just tones swinging wildly? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
If you imagine like a Black Adam just like doing what he just did to that poor guy, like melting a Shazam kid into skin and bone, or just flesh and bone, not even flesh, just bone.
Yeah, just bone.
Just skeleton falling down. I mean, that's pretty dark. You know what I mean? How are they gonna manage that? You think they're still gonna keep it PG-13?
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like they kind of have to, just for the sake of
money.
Of the audience.
Yeah, money.
They gotta make that money.
Gotta make that guala. I feel you.
It'd be funny to see what's his name? Who plays Shazam?
Zachary Levi?
Yeah, Zachary Levi. It would be funny to see him have that comedic edge.
Yeah.
To his serious tone.
But how would it work? Because like you'll see like Black Adam's like, yeah, I'm here to destroy you. I'm here to melt your freaking face off. And he's like, what are you doing, buddy? Like it's like I don't think. I don't know if that'd work.
He'd be pretty freaked out.
That would be weird. He'd be like, whoa, this dude's scary. He's like, these muscles are so big. I don't know, man. I don't know how well it'd go over. Do you think? Okay, hold on. Here's another one. Do you think Zachary Levi's Shazam? You think they're gonna have like maybe like they'll fight for a bit because we all want to see that, right? And then they might have like a common enemy, and like Zachary Levi's Shazam has to like turn him to like an anti-hero somehow because they have a threat bigger than both of them. I think that's somewhere they might go with it.
Yeah,
because if it's to the death, I mean, I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't know how much that Dwayne Johnson would even want to be.
Involved?
Yeah, perceived as a villain.
True.
More than like the anti-hero.
Yeah,
I think he would prefer more of the anti-hero.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, it wouldn't do well for his brand. Another thing too is he's been playing a superhero for many years now. I mean, he's basically a superhero in Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, all the Fast and Furious universe. Yeah, some superhero and human stuff he does in there. So he's been ready for this. I'm surprised. Is this his first superhero role? Would you say?
Yeah, I think so.
You're right. It's all just been like really tough dudes and badasses since his conception, I guess. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know why it took so long for him to get around to it, but I guess he really had his eyes set on this.
Yeah. Well, he has a lot of projects.
He does. He's like working on everything in the world ever. Yeah. So, hey, but you know what? Time for Super Pets. Oh, I thought this was it. I was like Ryan Reynolds and Super Pets. Rating pending. Wait a second.
Oh, it's a video game.
Pass.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I'm glad the kids have something, man.
Yeah.
I was like, to be fair, if it was a movie, I'd be like, all right, let's see what y'all got. Let's make a big blockbuster animated superhero movie and see who goes to see it. Could have been big like the Lego movie. All right, who do we get last? What do we got last?
Oh, I saw it just now.
Aquaman. Let's see it. If there's a new footage, there's new footage. We have to talk about it. It's trailer day, Big Apple. It's unofficial trailer day. We have to look at all of them. We have to cover the fandom. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. How much do we know about that? How much do we know about Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Big Apple?
Me, not much.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. But I didn't know James Wan was Australian. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Apparently, actually, we don't know what it's about, and that's all right, Big Apple. It looks like they're gonna go all over the world.
Yeah. It looks as epic, if not more so than the first one.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
I feel like the first one we got a lot of samples of like some of the kingdoms, not all of them, quite of them, but like like this is what where Aquaman's from. This is what it looks like, and then we saw a few other places.
Yeah. What was it? The trench.
There was the trench people. That was a big thing. Trench
people. Yeah, whatever they were.
They were supposed to get like a spin-off, weren't they?
I feel like they were. I think they're still doing
it's still in the works,
but I think they put it like
on the back burner for now. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, what are you hoping to see? Just new and exciting things you haven't seen before.
Yeah,
I want some big action set pieces, Big Apple. I want them to go to space. No, I'm kidding. Nah, let's see some awesome sea fights. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
What do we got next?
The Shazam trailer.
All right. Yeah. There wasn't much to talk about with Aquaman. No, it looks really cool.
Yeah. I mean, all they really focused on were the visuals.
Yeah.
In that, so.
And boy, oh boy, did they look spicy.
Yeah.
So let's see what we got. Hi. 2023. All right. Not an exact date, but we have a year. Yeah, I like this one a lot because it shows off again more of what we're gonna see in the world. Some more creatures. More importantly, some locations like the realm of the gods. Back to Philadelphia. Back to all kinds of different places. Yeah. I'm excited. Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren as our villains.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna be villains through and throughout, or is it gonna be a situation where like they turn them at the end?
I would wonder because I honestly don't know much about Shazam.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe they're a little more like. I don't know.
I have a feeling they're like conquerors or something. Because if they come from a different world and they seem to have, a mission, and like it looks like, they have some fury in their eyes, and the Shazam kids are supposed to stop them, then like, obviously they're gonna be fighting the whole time. There might be some item they're trying to acquire. Maybe they're, whatever. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the kids have their own things going on. I saw like one of the I guess the dorky kid, or wasn't he like somewhat paralyzed or something?
Yeah,
he had like the crutches, right?
Crutches.
Yeah, and he's like looks like he has some sort of love interest, or at least like so they're alluding to with that girl on the rooftop. Yeah. And it's gonna be interesting to see how they balance and grow from all this while still dealing with these bigger and bigger worlds. Mm-hmm. How fast is that gonna mature them, or they're still gonna remain kids forever? How it goes. So we'll see.
Right.
But I'm really excited for this one. Like I'm happy. Like they still have the tone right. It looks like Zachary Levi looks fun as ever.
So. Yeah. He's really good at like bringing out that inner child in him.
Yeah. He's always bright and chippy, it seems, in these things. Yeah. So it's good. It's good. Again, it goes back to it. I wonder how they're going to balance that when it comes time for Black Adam.
Right, yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see. Do you think they're going to focus on all the kids, or is it going to be more of a solo adventure with Zachary Levi's?
It kind of seems like they're focusing on all of them, but yeah. I would like them to focus more on Zachary Levi's.
Yeah, Shazam. Yeah, I agree. Maybe we'll see what they have in store. I don't even know if the script's been written for that yet. Maybe. But I know they have some ideas, and yeah, it'd be nice to see some one-on-one stuff going on with them.
Yeah.
We'll see. They're gonna find a way, Big Apple. They always do.
Yeah, they always do.
Now, having seen all this, because obviously it's a huge DC Fandome event, how do you feel like? How are the prospects going forward for the state of DC? Do you think they're finally kind of getting their act together, or are you still tentative and you want to reserve judgment?
Yeah, I'm still tentative. I mean, the thing that got me most excited would be the Batman trailer.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I think that looks great, but it still kind of seems like they're kind of trying to find the balance between humor and, I mean, obviously, like we were saying, the Black Adam is stark difference from
just like the upbeat
from Shazam. Yeah, exactly.
The huge tonal differences between movies, which is fine, but
and it can work, but
when you start mixing and matching, it's gonna be real interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be really weird.
It would be really weird to have, let's say, like Zachary Levi and even like maybe Ezra Miller's Flash, whenever he finds out what kind of humor he's into, next to like Batman, like Robert Pattinson's serious Batman, I'm vengeance,
right.
You know what I mean? So it's gonna be really interesting, or even Black Adam, it'd be really interesting to see how those universes collide, if they collide, you know what I mean, or if they keep a lot of these things separate because they think it'll work better that way. So we got a lot to see, but I'm hopeful. We'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic with all this. So with that, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back to talk Squid Game. And we're back, and we're going to talk the entire series of Squid Game. Squid Game, as everybody in the dog knows, is the latest amazing hit out of South Korea. And it basically centers around, a group of players, more importantly, Song Gi-hung, which is like just a man like everyone else who's down on his luck. Lots of these players are in debt, and they learn from these recruiters, if you would, that if you can play simple children's games, you can win money. And so obviously people who are millions of won or dollars in debt, they can be pretty enticed pretty quickly by playing what seems like simple games, to get themselves out of a crap hole.
Yeah.
And it works. We meet our little central characters, if you would, in the first episode or two, and we learn the stakes of the world, and we learn that this is pretty involved. And sure enough, we meet everybody, and it's just a bunch of players with like little numbers on their tracksuit. And we learn that, like, hey, they're going to play games, and this is what it's going to be about. So it does a great job of setting everything up. I buy into it pretty quickly. And the game they play is, like, red light, green light. Yeah. And then we know things get serious when, like, if you don't stop when you're supposed to, you die. You get sniped. Yeah. And we're like, oh.
Yeah, even, like, a hair.
Yeah, out of place. Yeah, out of place. I was like, you're done. You're done. Goodbye. And so everyone realizes, like, the stakes. Like, as soon as they get there, they're like, oh, shit. Like, we're going to die. So from that, I think that's what captivated a lot of people. I mean, certainly me. I was like, okay, no, if you don't win, you're dead. Like, this is more than a game.
Yeah.
And so the show goes on. People are getting dropped left and right. There's this whole debacle within the group. They're like, we can't do this. Clause 3 luckily says, yeah, if the majority of the players want to leave, win the game, no problem. And it's unbelievable, but they do. And we'll come back to this later. But it comes down to that old man, player 1, the very end, and he actually votes to stop the games, to let everyone go home, which was really interesting, and we'll talk about that later. But everyone goes home, and everyone kind of goes back to their shit lives, and they're like, man, this kind of blows. Maybe I should go back and look at the games. And I love how they tempt them with, like, the big piggy bank in the sky and the golden light. They're like, look at all this cash.
Yeah,
look at money. You want to do it. You want to. And so they bring everyone back, of course, and more games continue. And there's all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, what was one of your favorite games? Like, what's that piece stuck out to you?
Probably. So the first one that comes to mind was probably the one where they were crossing over the
glass panes.
The glass panes.
That one was tight.
Yeah.
Because there was a whole, if you remember, argument at the beginning, because there's always like a pregame selection committee, whether it's choosing your teams or a number or something like that. Yeah, and this one, there were 16 vests up. It was one of the final games, and they were like, okay, here you are, and they didn't tell them anything. They're just like, pick a vest. And so no one knew what anything meant, because by this point in the games they knew there's some gimmick, right? And so the majority of the people chose the middle numbers, because if you don't know anything, you would think that's safe, right? And so all that's left is the first 4 and the last 4. And our like protagonist, if you would, Gi-hung, he was so indecisive. He didn't know what the hell he was gonna do. Yeah. And so he was almost left with the first one. But luckily, this guy who was having, I don't know, a crisis of identity and like not being a chooser or a leader, he was like, no, let me be one. I'll be number one. Let me choose in my life. He's like, all right. And so by dumb luck, he ends up as the last player, and thank God, because I don't think he would have won otherwise. But that game was so intriguing. That was also the same episode where we met the VIPs, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
How did you feel about them? Like as a not Western portrayal of like Western rich people. Like
I don't know. It was weird because they seemed a little too over the top.
A little bit, right?
But also kind of made sense.
Right.
Because like they were sort of buying into this idea that these they're kind of giving to these people.
Yeah, they're essentially betting on horses. Is I think the analogy that was made later in the episode or in the show. And I thought it was weird as a Westerner to watch it. I was like, this is kind of weird because it did feel like caricature-y and like over the top, but it made sense in the context of this is a foreign project, and this is probably how they see and portray like those kind of mustache twirling, ultra elite rich people, you know. And we were ignoring a whole subplot, but it was interesting how one of the guards was secretly a police member.
Gi-hun, he had helped him on his way back, right?
Right, yeah.
That's when he first infiltrated.
Yeah. So long story short, he when Gi-hun was trying to explain to the police in the very first episode after everyone got left home, or the second episode, whichever it was, this cop Jun-ho, I believe is called, Jun-ho, and he sees that little card that we were talking about, and he recognized it before because his brother got that card a few years back or whatever, and then he disappeared. And so he's the only one who kind of believed him and then followed him and tried to get him to help on the case. And he kept saying, no, I made it up, because he was just all depressed and whatever. And so he decided, no, he was going to follow him. And sure enough, he was able to get on the boat, infiltrate, beat up some dude in the car, played dead, all the whole thing. And I was like, wow, this worked. Okay. And the whole time he's pretty successful. He's like evading like the front man and everyone, the whole series basically. He finds out that his brother used to be in the games like 4 years ago and that he won. That was trippy. He found out like he was like seduced, if you would, or like coerced into like doing a sexual favor by one of the VIPs as he was portraying one of the waiters, and then he got information and a confession out of him from his phone, which I'm glad he had a charger on that remote island, because I was like, how is he keeping this thing charged for like 6 days? Know, right? Some great battery life. And then eventually he ends up like making it in a scuffle, like in one of the last episodes. He ends up making it off the island and into another island near South Korea, and he's able to send something. It doesn't go the first time, but he's able to send something to his unwilling or unbelieving police chief, right? And some of it goes through, which we got to talk about later, which is really interesting. Some of that stuff does get sent. But then he ends up getting a plot twist. The front man's his brother, who won a few years ago, and so I guess he bought into that life. And then he ends up, they have a little shootout, if you would, and then the good brother Jun-ho like falls off a cliff with a bullet in him, and then that's the end of him. I'm like, wow. Okay. He sacrificed his life for the intel, though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
There's a lot of sad moments. I mean, there was like the whole marble game and like the demented old man and like Gi-hun kind of taking advantage of him, and then the old man knew about it, but they were like gangbu, they're like brothers, and I was like, damn, or like close friends. I was like, damn, that sucks. Heartbreaking moments. That my boy, I forget his name. What was the Pakistani dude's name?
Oh yes,
he got done so dirty, man. That guy was ruthless. The SNU business guy, Ali Abdul.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, he got done dirty, especially by the SNU business boy. It was, I forget his name too. There's so many names, but there's so much. That poor North Korean girl too took glass to the side. Sangwoo was the guy.
Yeah, he was the
SNU business boy.
Yeah. Star pupil.
Yeah. The only one who made it out. Yeah. There was so much going on here. There was, of course, a lot of messages about poverty, capitalism, the ultra, all that good stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. But this show did it with style, and I think there's similar shows to it. Not too similar, but I think Alice in Wonderland's supposed to be somewhat similar with like that horror aspect and playing games. It's on Netflix too. I haven't seen it, but this one really captured everyone's attention. I mean, there's been countless memes about it.
Yeah. It's the most watched thing on Netflix.
Yeah, according to their metrics, I think it was 111 million accounts watched it, which only means, and that's and it's not independent verified, and also it means those accounts watched at least 2 minutes of it. But still, right. With the amount of memes and stuff, I think at least 75% of that number is probably accurate. It's huge. That's millions of people. Yeah, that's almost half their, if not more than half their. I think they only have 209 million active subscribers right now. Netflix.
Oh, do they?
I think so, according to the last numbers I saw. Long story short.
A lot of sharing accounts.
Yeah, lots of sharing accounts. You already know Big Apple. By the way, can I still have your password? No, I'm kidding. No. But long story short, the final episode kind of wraps up with the second to final episode is all that. Just take a moment. The last episode, right? the final game is the Squid Game, right? The one that's title of the show, all that stuff we learned about at the very beginning in the first episode.
Yeah.
And it's a brutal fight. It turns into a brutal fight in the rain between Gi-young and Sang-woo. And Gi-young, he's not a killer, not by choice, you know what I mean? And he's got a good heart. And he ends up getting the upper hand against Sang-woo, but he doesn't want to finish him. Mm-hmm. He's like, we can both leave. But Sang-woo, and he's smart for this. Even though he was ruthless throughout the whole game, he knew like all this couldn't be for nothing. Someone has to win. Like someone needs the money, and so he ends up like putting a knife in his own neck, and like he's like, all right, man, take care of my mom's.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. It's over. Of course, this sends poor Gi-young and like to a depression, and he really doesn't. We learn later he doesn't touch his money for a year. He pays off and takes care of. What's that girl's name? Who's his kid brother in North Korea?
Oh right.
Is it Say Byok? Byok?
Something
like that, right?
Yeah.
And Saibayok, I think, I'm butchering it, but she obviously is gone, but like he keeps that promise. He takes care of her brother. He ends up pushing him off into
the mother of
Sang-woo, exactly,
yeah.
Which was touching, and he also left her a suitcase full of hella guap. So that was also really touching.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, like, the little match made. Second and third place still kind of won, even though they're dead, right? They did better for their families, which was a nice touch.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he's just a bum for a year, living how he's been living. He doesn't spend any of his money. He's depressed, understandably. And then we find out, after he gets an invitation, that card, he finds out that player one, his little gangbu or whatever, was Il-num, and he told the truth pretty much the whole game except about who he really was, but everything else he said was true. And he set up all of this, and it was like a game for the ultra rich, the board ultra rich, to make bets on and get excited for again.
Right.
Did you see that twist coming, or was it not warranted for you? Did you not like it?
No, I didn't see it coming, but I don't know. It's a weird decision to make.
I don't know. I don't know if it would have been cooler if we saved it for season 2, or just it was a different person entirely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that the old man wanted to feel something, and he was kind of at death's door, and so he decided to participate in the games. That was interesting.
Yeah, he's definitely like an asshole.
Yeah, for real. And then they have the whole back and forth. He's obviously, I'm dropping his name again, but Gi-yeon, there he is. Gi-yeon was like, how could you do all this? Like, why would you treat people like this? Da 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 da. But at the same time, the old man made some great points. He was like, y'all voluntarily did this. You even got to go home, and you still came back. It's like you signed the papers. You allowed yourself to be treated this way. And that doesn't excuse it, but it is.
No, not at all.
That's another perspective. It's just like, at the same time, as much as you hated it, you did sign up for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was really interesting to see those two clashing of ideals.
Yeah. I love the nuance. Even with Sang-woo, I know everybody
likes to hate on him.
Hates on him because
he was the most pragmatic at some points, doing whatever it took to get the job done.
Yeah, and I would have liked them to maybe put that more in the forefront, where because you sort of see the difference between him and Gi-hun, and how they're both coming from different places in life, but ultimately the decisions they made brought them to the same place.
Right.
And
so there was a really good moment. I'll let you continue. There's a really good moment where he was like, well, if you're so much better than me, like how you ended up right here next to me.
Right, exactly.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So,
and yet they both sort of see this game as he sees it as a pure opportunity. He has to
Sang-woo, you mean?
Yeah, Sang-woo, he has to win the game because they've come so far.
Yeah.
They have to.
He'll do it at any cost. I think he says it a couple times. He's like, he'll do whatever it takes. And even brutally, almost backstabbing his befriended, was it Ali Abdul?
Yeah.
I think I was like, bruh, that was so sad. Like, he was such a nice guy. I was like, damn, that sucks. But it's ruthless out here.
And it goes to show, when people are put in these hard situations, there's only so many things that you can decide on. And
in terms of, like being nice, or you mean like?
Well, yeah, because it's that sort of like survivor's mentality. Like, do you want to survive, and be sort of like this reason for all these other people dying?
Yeah.
Or do you want to give up on this and spare your life, spare everybody else's death? It's sort of like that hard you're in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, and you know what? He plays it, and he plays that through the end. Sang-woo, he shows it time and time again. I mean, he does it. He betrays Ali because he has to. He pushes that guy through the glass at the very end, and even they have the whole argument. Gi-young's like, bro, you could have let him choose. Da 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 da. He's like, what difference would it have made? Basically, he was what he's saying. He's like, we needed to go. It was him or us. Like we needed to go.
I would have wondered in that game, would they have been able to walk on the?
I said the same thing when it started. The little metal rails.
Yeah, the metal rails.
I said the same thing when it started. I was like, I feel like you could have done that because did it explicitly say you couldn't?
Mm-hmm.
No,
not really.
But you know what I think? I think if people started doing that, like I think the red guards would have been like shooting at them or picking them off,
maybe,
or something.
Yeah.
Or if like everyone started doing it, they might have just like exploded the glass. Like
but I mean, also they were trying to keep the games fair. I mean,
that's true.
Sort of saw that earlier with the who was it? The doctor? He was helping out.
He was helping harvest organs on behalf of like the team moderators, if you would, like the
mm-hmm.
staff.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the only problem the front man had with that was that he was giving information. He didn't care about the like the harvesting of organs and the selling. He's like, I don't care about that. It's the fact that you made the games not fair by telling him what the next game was going to be. I was like, what? I was like, the organ, okay. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting that it was this like a game of principles. Mm-hmm. And I guess Il-Num, like the creator of the game, was really adamant about that. Like he wanted the integrity of the games to be, super fair. And I guess that helps with betting too, if it's a really fair playing field. But there was just a lot of messages coming out of this show, and it kept people talking for a while. And I think it was just really well done. That was the most important thing. Yeah. Beautiful to watch too. Towards the end, we see that Young is, trying to, move on with his life a little bit. He's trying to go visit his daughter and stuff. And then right as he's on the way, he sees, he gets his hair dyed and all that. He's trying to change things around. I was like, okay, cool. But he's trying to change things around. And then he sees that same dude, that same recruiter, playing that same game with someone else who's down their luck. And then he like rushes over, drops everything to like, say, don't join. He tried to catch that guy and he didn't quite make it. But he gets the card and he calls again and he like signs up for the next games. I'm like, why are you doing that, bro? Don't sign up for the next games. And then the front man gets on the line. It's crazy how they keep super tabs on him. He's like, get on that plane. He's like, don't come, snooping where you shouldn't be. And I was like, bro. Part of me's like, just take the money and move on. But I think it's that naive heart of gold, like that, kind of sense of justice that, it's, again, very nuanced. He's like, no, like, I need justice for all the people I lost. We need to bring you down. This game's going to stop. So how far do you think he's going to go in the next season?
Man, I don't know. Because, I mean, it's not like
You don't think he's going to play again, do you?
No, I don't think they would let him.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope that wouldn't be fair.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he'd get far. Honestly, I don't think he'd have the plot armor like he did season 1.
Yeah, no.
Nah, he'd be dead in a couple games. But I do think that maybe if he can get at least one other ally, maybe with the help of a police chief, I don't know. Yeah, maybe he can sort of help infiltrate or something. We got to see. It's my understanding. I was doing my research. It's my understanding that there was an explicit season 2 written. It was only like the first season that the original author had an idea about. So if he does do a season 2, which Netflix loves their sequels, there's no way they're not doing a second season. Yeah. He's gonna get the help of like staff writers and other people like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see how much artistic integrity, if you would, stays or remains from the first season. Yeah. Or things might get muddled and watered down because they're like, well, we need to make this as long as possible because Netflix likes money. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But do you think they're gonna put an end to it in season 2, or would you like to see that, or you want to see it? Like, do you want to see a neat bow put on this, or do you want to see him go forever? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think season 2. I don't even know how long they could keep it up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, would they? My guess is that they would make an excuse to write enough of a show to allow for one more year of of Squid Game, like of the games going on for the 6 days, and during those 6 days he's trying to bring it down, and then maybe by the end of it he's able to bring the authorities into it or something like that. Maybe it's gathering evidence the whole time. I don't know. We'll see.
But it'd be nice to see. I'd like them to keep the nuance of it. So I don't know that like a neat bow would be.
Oh, okay, appropriate.
The right thing.
Sure.
But
enough of a resolution to be like, okay, we put a stop to it. Yeah, exactly. It's not gonna happen anymore. Not like this.
Yeah.
Maybe it just spirals into another game. Like, all right, we're in New Zealand now. I don't know. The Kiwi Games now. But overall, it's a really good show, and I don't think people were like, meh. Like, I don't think anyone had a problem with it. But I think it's one of those rare times where something that happens to be super popular also happens to be really good. It wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't like a perfect show, it got a lot right. Like it was high up there. It was like a 9, maybe 9.5 for me. Like, it was really good for what it was.
Yeah.
And I just think that's interesting. How much do you think of that was because like Netflix can just show you what they want, and if they really like leaned hard into it and push the show onto everyone's front page for every region, everywhere, and just hype.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of it was word of mouth, or do you think it was just Netflix's algorithm like pushing the crap out of the show, or a little bit of both? Or
I would think it would probably be both.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that first episode was really captivating.
I think that's what did it.
So
yeah.
Everyone
After wants to see more.
What is it? Word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably helped out.
Memes is just free marketing for these people. It really is. I mean, TikTok was going crazy.
Yeah. I got so many spoilers out of those memes before I even started watching it.
I heard about that a lot too. I was trying to duck them. I was trying to dodge all of them.
I didn't even know what most of them were, and then I was like, "Holy shit, what?"
There's some good memes out there, but it's crazy. There was all this like kind of, I don't want to say controversy or drama around it, but like there's some crazy things that were happening in real life. Like in South Korea, the popularity, I'm sure you've heard of it, of the show led to a surge in network traffic, which caused like a SK Broadband to file a lawsuit against Netflix for damages for like just how much to pay for the increased broadband usage and the maintenance costs associated with how many people were streaming this. I was like, bro, everybody and their dog in South Korea was streaming this show. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Another thing too that's kind of quirky is that it was such a it was really good for people who were like bilingual, like who actually knew Korean. They said like we missed a lot contextually. It makes sense and culture wise, because the captions and all that, the closed captions didn't do it justice. Like we missed a lot of context, being like English speakers, because they didn't do a thorough enough job translating all of the lines. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Apparently the first game wasn't even technically red light, green light.
Yeah. What was it? It was like a different name or something.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called. It was like something flower.
Oh wow.
Game.
That's crazy. But like things we wouldn't even know.
It was more specific to South Korea.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is that the show almost lost a bit of its identity as well, because I think it was originally the writer was floating that it was supposed to be called like 6 rounds for like a general mass market appeal. But then eventually throughout the production kept pushing for Squid Game, and then they finally got that. And I was like, well, at least that was preserved.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy how much nuance we miss because we just don't speak that language. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wonder how much of a problem that's going to be going forward. Because Korea's definitely booming. Like with Parasite and all that. Like a lot of these K-dramas and stuff are blowing up, and like it's only a matter of time before just the streaming world just gets us to see so many different other regions productions. You know, stuff we would have otherwise glossed over if we were just what we were 10, 15 years ago. You know.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, Big A. It's an exciting new world. And it was a pretty good show. So that doesn't hurt either. But yeah, for Media Munchers, I'm Avian.
And I'm Adrian.
And we'll catch you next time.